All right, lovely. So how did everyone get on with their foraging? All right. Did you find it quite sort of therapeutic and relaxing, or?
No, I was constantly worried that somebody was going to come out of their house and tell me off for snipping bits off their trees.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's always that worry. It's always good to do it in a sort of more open space, isn't it? Yeah. What sort of things did you get?
I got some nice camellia flowers off somebody's bushes.
Yeah, lovely. What colour? What are they? Pink. They're pink ones, aren't they?
Yep. So I got those ones there.
Yes, I've got some of those. Yeah, they're really lovely. I've never tried making natural ink with them before, so today's going to be my day of giving it a go. So nice one. So Beth, how did you get on?
I got the same flowers actually.
Did you? Nice one.
And some, I don't know, some yellow flowers I found.
Perfect. Yeah, cool. All right. And Fiona, did you do okay? Oh, have you frozen? All right, let's go to Lula. No. Bit noisy, so I won't turn my mic on. No, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry. How did everyone else do? Did you all find sort of a few little bits to start with? Yeah. Okay, that's good. All right, perfect. So I'm hoping that you can all see my setup. If I just pop this down, I've got 3 pans here. I've got a few jars here as well. And what I've done is I've boiled the kettle. And first of all, I've just made sure that they're nice and sterile. So Jane was just telling you a minute ago about microwaving them. I've never done that before.
Okay, if you just make sure your glass, rinse your glasses under the tap and stick them in the microwave for 60 seconds.
Oh, there you go.
That sterilises them.
Oh, there you go. So all I do is just boil some water in a pan and then just pop my jars in a pan and then pop them back out again. And it's, whatever you fancy. But all I do is just make sure that they're really nice and sterile just before you use them. But you can do that throughout the workshop. You don't have to do that right now. It's just before you pop your ink in at the end, it's just a really good way. It's just you don't want to pop them in a dirty jar or anything. I was just saying these had desserts in, so I don't want to mix like a bit of chocolate in with some nice ink. And I was just getting some inks that I made before, and I did buy these really good bottles actually, but I've run out of them now. And these are what I was putting my inks in before. They're really good if ever you want to purchase these. I think I just got them off of Amazon, but they're perfect and they've got little pipettes in them. But they hold the inks really well because you never want to make loads of ink, so they're great for it. And I was just popping some of the colours on here to show you. I haven't documented it the same way on this sheet because I've literally just popped it on, but this is what I was doing my workings on. Very messy, but if you can see that on there. And they dry completely different to how they come out on the paper. So I think it will be really interesting as we go today to see how everything documents as you paint it on and then what it looks like when it dries. So I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. I think if you're happy to sort of time everything and we'll just do everything together, it depends on everything that you've got. I managed to get like a really cool bit of bark and I've just been chopping it up. I don't know if you can see like this red in there. So I've just been like sort of hacking bits off of there. So just ready to pop in a pan. And I've also got some of those flowers that I think you saw in the video that have started to go a little bit purple, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. I've never given these a go before, but I'm going to see what happens with those. I've got the purpley berries as well. So these are great because I think we can just throw them in and just see what happens. Whereas like with the bark, I'm going to chop it up and and sort of get it so more of the pigment can come out of it. So if you need to do anything like that, I would start doing that straight away. And then just make sure that you've got everything there. So if you've got some salt, grab some salt. If you've got any of the white wine vinegar, grab that. And pop the kettle on. And make sure you've got some hot water, and make yourself a cup of tea if you need to. But yeah, just make sure you've got everything prepped and ready to go. And then yeah, also if you want, I've got all my sort of utensils here as well. So I've got sort of like my wooden spoons, I've got a potato masher, everything in here. So it's all just easy on hand if I need to sort of start mashing things up and getting all the pigments out of the items that I've collected, because that's the aim for today really, is all you're wanting to do is extract as much of the pigment from everything that you've foraged as possible. And towards the end, you'll see you'll just want to keep going with that colour until you get the exact richness from it that you can possibly get. And then you'll know when you want to stop and sort of pop it in a jar, and then it's good to go. Did any of you get any gum arabic at all, or are you gonna hold off on that?
I read your email too late.
Yeah, no, I sent it late, so I am sorry about that.
I read it even later, so.
Okay, cool. I mean, it's something that you can always add at a later date. All it does is, because these ones here, I added them. Oh, you ordered it, Fiona. Brilliant. Have you got it there? No, it's on its way. Cool. So, I mean, these ones I made and then added it like a week later. And you can either just add it back in and like give it a really good shake. And what it will do is it sort of binds the pigment to the water. So it just makes it that bit smoother, and it will thicken it up as well. So, you know, when you use ink, it's just got that really good sort of consistency to it. And obviously some you'll want a bit thicker and some you'll want a bit thinner. But obviously these are for just sort of painting with and using onto paper. So, you know, it depends what you prefer really. I prefer mine to have a little bit of thickness to it. So I do like to use some gum arabic, but it's a natural substance. We use it for screen printing as well. So it's originally made from seaweed, so it's all natural, so perfect for this. So yeah, if you did ever want to get hold of some, that link I sent you, I think it was like £7 or something. So it's not too expensive. But it's good to have kicking around. All right. So yeah, if you're happy to sort of start prepping everything, gathering all your bits. And I don't know how many pans you've all got, but obviously you can either sort of start with one pan. I always have 3 on the go at once, but it's entirely up to you. And all you're aiming to do is, if you put in too much water, it's just going to take a lot longer to reduce your pigments down. So, and then if you don't put in enough, you're not going to be able to release all the pigments. I always try and cover everything that I've found. So let's say, you know, if it was this, I'd definitely try and cover that entire, all of the leaves and everything, all of the petals and everything, and then some as well. So it's a judgment call, but I always try and record everything that I do. The water, I don't record exactly. Because then afterwards you can always just add in a little bit more. If you feel like you need to reduce it down some more, just add a bit more water in. But the salt, I always record how much salt I put in, how much white wine vinegar, just by tablespoons or teaspoons. So did you all get the sheet that I sent over to you? Yeah, you don't have to print it off if you don't want to. It's just like a good, it's just a good way to sort of just jot everything down, you know, just to go by. And then I always just start painting how everything's going every like 10 minutes and then every 15 minutes, and just to see how it's all developing, because as soon as your ink starts developing, it can just change really dramatically, really quickly, or it can take a really long time. Some of the inks I've left over 2 days. So it's, you know, you'll be able to tell with your inks as soon as you've started going. I think it was moss I left for 48 hours. So yeah, I think it's just a really good way to experiment, really good way to sort of get back in touch with nature again, because I think it's, especially at the moment, it's really lovely to do that. And I think you can create some really beautiful inks this way, and it's really lovely that it's all sustainable and it's completely natural and all eco-friendly as well. And it's just lovely. It's really fun to do as well. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. But yeah, perfect. Well, if you want to sort of start, are you all happy with what you need to do?
How much salt and vinegar do we put in, Ella, or are you going to tell us that in a minute?
Yeah, I mean, I always go for a tablespoon of each.
Okay.
But some of them you'll see, as soon as you put the vinegar in, the colour will change quite a lot. So sometimes you might decide not to pop any vinegar in at all, because what that does is it changes the pH level of the pigment. So it is entirely up to you. I always pop it in, and the salt you need to put in. So the salt's a must. The vinegar you can sort of play around with. Put a bit less in, put more in, entirely up to you.
Okay.
All right, but I would always record it, just then you know what you've done. All right. Amazing. All right, perfect. Enjoy. And I'm here, so just shout for me.
Ella, if we've got like bark or like rusty nails and stuff, how would you do those?
So did you say the first one, bark?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with this here, because what I'm doing is so I've got this bit of bark here. So I'm chopping all of mine up carefully into sort of smaller pieces like this. So you've got more surface area coming out with the water. So if you can do that, I would do that with the bark. And then you found some rusty nails. That's cool, because you can add that in to then. So you could add that into the bark, and that could make it black. Or you could add it into any other colour, and it could completely change it. Do you know what metal it is or anything?
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth giving it a go, because that rust and then the combination of the rust with the metal can change. It could change the pH level of it, or it could, it could just really change the colour completely. So it's definitely worth. I would just pop it in with one of your other foraged items and see what happens with it. All right, wicked. Cool. I won't put myself on mute, but then if you just need me, just shout me.
What kind of temperature should the pans be on?
So I would just keep them at a really low simmer. So they're not sort of boiling, but they're not, just a really, really low heat.
Cool, thank you.
No worries at all.
And is there any guidance on how long you have to put it in there, or?
No, it can vary. It all depends on how strong you want your colour. So that's what I mean. If you keep testing your colour, like I would test it after 10 minutes, and then I would test it again after 20 minutes. And if you wanted like a really light colour, for instance, then it could be absolutely perfect for you. But if you wanted a really deep colour, then I would keep it going for as long as possible. And what I would do is, as soon as you've got that pan on, I would just jot down the time next to, like on the sheet, there's a space for you to jot down what you foraged. And I would jot down the time that you pop everything in the pan, just so then you know exactly when you put everything on, and then you can time it from there on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because you might want a really deep colour, but let's say you wanted to create like a really light blue sky colour, I don't know, but that might be your favourite colour in your colour palette or something, and you might not want a really deep blue, or so yeah, see how you go with it. It's all about experimentation, and I think you've just got to keep sort of working on it. I think this could get really addictive.
Sorry, I don't know if you might have already said, but does it matter when you put the salt in?
When you pop them in?
When you put the salt in?
When you put the salt in?
Yeah, does it matter when?
I would pop it in as soon as you've popped the foraged items in. Okay. So pop the foraged items in, then pop the salt and the vinegar in, and once the hot water's in as well, and then good to go. Start timing it from then on. And if you then if you want to then just start mashing it, or just give it a good stir, or whatever you feel. Obviously with berries, I'd give it a good mash. And just keep working it around the water.
And I want to ask, is it better to use boiling water to pour on the items, or just to kind of simmer it and let the temperature rise?
Yeah, I mean, I've boiled my kettle.
Yeah.
And then I'll pop I boiled that about half an hour ago, so I'll probably just use that. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. I think it will be fine if you just use boiling water. Okay. It's up to you.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Ella?
Yeah?
I've got some gorse flowers.
Oh, yes.
Should I separate it from the leaves and the stalks, do you think, just to get the yellow flower?
I would, yeah. Do you know, I tried to do this in my last time, and I went foraging on a really wet and windy day. I was walking over a farmer's grate, where all the holes are, and I picked all the gorse flowers off, and I dropped it over the grate, and they all just fell through. And when you're like, I am not.
Not doing that one again.
No, it's so prickly.
You're right.
So good effort there. I can't wait to see what happens with that.
Oh, it is very prickly.
Yeah. So did you just cut? Yeah, you cut the whole thing.
Yeah, I just took cut branches of it, and then, or sprigs of it.
Yeah. Okay.
And do you always put the vinegar in at the beginning, or might you wait and see how it's developing and then add vinegar?
Yeah, I've done both, so it's entirely up to you. If I sort of I think I did it with blackberries. I put the vinegar in halfway through, just to see what would happen. And I remember the colour changing so much, and I was like, that's amazing.
In a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, in a good way. And I sort of then when it's black, because it was right at the end of blackberry season. So when it comes back around again, I want to do another one, and just see what it's like without the vinegar in it. This is what I mean. I feel like it can get really addictive, because you can do it, you can, and like what we were saying about adding nails to it and things, and you can just add other little bits into it and it can just change the colour so much.
Yeah.
Feel like it could get really, you could create a whole colour palette just from one sort of foraged item, which could be really interesting.
And can you use these extracts to dye fabrics?
Absolutely. Jane, this is right up your street.
Precise. Well, I'm just thinking of my next project, actually.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yes.
So presumably you don't put the gum arabic in that case?
No, there's, I'm not an expert at this. Irene is an expert at this.
Yeah.
And you can use other things are better at dyeing fabric. So sort of avocado stones.
Yeah.
So if you sort of go down the not so foraged route,
I want to go down the mineral route actually.
Ah.
But I'm really struggling to find mineral pigments.
I've got a friend who runs a business. She dyes she creates baby grows and soft toys and everything.
Okay.
And she hand dyes all of her fabrics, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But she sort of uses turmeric and indigo and.
Oh, turmeric's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, turmeric's fantastic. The yellows are brilliant. Yeah. Okay. How are you Brits getting on? Are you all right? Yeah. Oh, yay! Thumbs up, always good. How about the guys whose videos I can't see? Are you all okay? Good. Nice one. Ivy leaves. I'm not sure. I tried to do a little bit of research about ivy leaves, and they didn't come up with much. However, I have got these here, which is an ivy leaf, and I don't know if yours would be the same or if you've got like the really traditional dark green ivy leaves. So I am keen to give it a go.
Would you blitz them, Bella?
Yeah, you could maybe chop them up really small.
Because they've got a really waxy.
They do. Because what I did was I ripped it in half, like ripped a little bit of it, and then sort of gave it a little, rub on my hand to see if any of the pigment or anything would come off on it. And I got a very slightly green tinge to it. I'm not getting anything now, but so you never know. It's just worth a go. I mean, have you already popped it in, Ishbel? Or, I mean, because what you could do is you could like chop it up, really go for it and chop it all up quite, sort of finely, and then pop it in a pan and see what happens there. But do you know what? I might give mine a go at the same time as you, just to see what happens, and we can try it together. Chopped it all, but there doesn't seem to be much colour coming. But that's okay. It's all a bit of an experiment. Keep it going. What I would do is, if it doesn't seem to develop over this workshop, just keep it going. Perhaps, well, see how it is at the end of the workshop, and then maybe just leave it sitting in the water with a lid on top of it overnight, and see how it is then. And once you've got it going, then just dip the paintbrush in, pop a little bit on paper, and just see how it's actually working. It might just mean that it turns into a really light colour, and it's one of those. Usually there is a colour that comes out of it. The moss that I created, I didn't think would create anything. What did it come out as? It was this in the end. And although it's really pale, I think actually it's quite a really lovely shade. So it might just be something like that. But I think, in the end, I had to keep it going for quite a while. So, like I say, it's all a bit of an experiment, but, keep it going. But I'll put my leaves in as well, and we'll see what happens. So we'll do it together. No, Beth, unfortunately, sometimes it will look like a really lovely pink water, and then it is just really clear. It just means that you just need to keep going with it. Have you added the vinegar and the salt in?
I've added the salt. I haven't got vinegar because I really hate the smell. I can't stand it.
Fair enough. No, fair play. Okay, mate, how much salt did you add in?
A tablespoon.
Okay. Maybe add a little bit more salt in.
Okay.
But just keep it going if that's all right. Because how long has that been in there for? Not long.
15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say most need about at least an hour. So if you keep it going and just keep testing it, it might just be a really pale pink in the end, but it could still look really lovely.
Does not all the water boil off after that long?
If you just keep it at a really low temperature, you might need to add more water in there, but just keep it at a really low temperature, then it should be okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Would this be a good way of like reusing tea bags and stuff that you've already used?
Absolutely, yeah. You can make ink out of literally anything. If you find that there's colour in there, and you can be as sort of abstract with this as you like as well. I read that there was an artist who didn't just create natural inks from her tea bags, but she collected drips from her tea when she extracted the tea bag from her tea and took it over to the bin. She collected the drips from that tea bag over God knows how long and created ink from that. So you can be as abstract with this as you like. But yeah, you can really make ink from anything. If you find that there's a pigment in anything, and just go with it. I think just really be as experimental as you like with it. And I just think it can create so much joy, because it can be really unexpected as well, and bring you quite a lot of happiness. So just yeah, go with it. And if you sort of want to collect some old older tea bags and create ink from that, why not? And vegetables as well. What did I do? Red cabbage is a really good one if you want to give that a go. Obviously, you're not going to be able to forage that because that will be probably nicking from a farmer. But that's a really good one. Like if you've got any from leftover from a Sunday roast or something, brilliant. And
onion skins do well as well.
Beetroot's really good. And when I last went foraging, I was like picking slowberries and blackberries and yeah, all sorts. So vegetables are a good shout. They're really, really good. Onion, nice one. I haven't tried that one yet because I've tried to stick with foraging instead of I did have a bit of leftover red cabbage, so I wanted to see what it goes like, but I'm trying to stick with foraging now. But I've heard that one's a really good one. You have to show, well, Hannah, you haven't got your video on, but maybe send me over some photos or something with all of your outcomes. That would be really lovely. So what, that ivy's made my kitchen smell quite fresh. Jane, what flowers was it that you have?
Sorry?
What flowers was it that you have?
I had gorse flowers.
Yeah.
And then I had the camellias, which are these pink ones.
Oh, that's it, yes.
And then I've got some of this sort of purpley effort.
Oh, lovely.
Not sure what that is. And then I nipped some of that as well. And then I found these little fir cones.
Yes.
tiny little fir cones, but I've also got bark or decayed wood.
Nice.
So that's sort of, and then I've got a whole load of because this is what I want to use in my project. I've got a whole load of scrap metal off the beach.
Oh, fantastic.
So I didn't know if I was going to do the metal now, but I want to play with that at some point as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Nice. See, I found these pine cones as well that I've never done before. So I don't know if it would be quite like the bark, but it could be really interesting as well. But how's all of yours coming along? Are you getting any colour from them?
I've got a pile of mushy fern.
Brilliant.
Not very coloured, but very brown.
Let's have a look. So what's in there, Fiona?
Sorry, I don't know if you can see that. It's the bark with the nail in it.
Nice. So what sort of colour is it coming up as?
Well, the water has been quite brown, but it's the sort of where I've messed it up. It's you have to sort of be around in it.
Yeah, I'll show you because I've just started. That's literally all I'm getting from my bark.
Okay.
So it's really light so far.
Yeah, I might get a brush.
I might. We'll see what happens.
I wanted to ask about adding vinegar. So, should adding more vinegar should make the color pop more, or is it like better to use salt or like both? And I don't know, or like is it just like trial and error or
Yeah, it's
something?
a bit of trial and error. It won't necessarily make it pop more, but it might. It's different with whatever you foraged. It might so like some of my redder and pinkier foraged items before, like berries and things, it's changed it to a blue.
Okay.
So it can really change the colour, changing the pH of the ingredient. So it's just yeah, like a little bit of trial and error. But then I've added it to another item before, and it's hardly done anything to it.
Okay.
So
And what does the salt do exactly? Like how does it like break the cells? I don't know of the let's say berries. Or...
I mean, it's more like it fixes it to the water more.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's it's more just like it binds it more together.
Okay.
In a sense, a little bit. It acts, I suppose, a little bit like the gum arabic does, but the gum arabic sort of thickens it up more.
Okay.
And binds it together as well. So it's just it works nicely, and the three work very well together. But
yeah.
Altogether,
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How are yours coming along?
So I decided to use like berries, so like some frozen, some dried, some like fresh. I want to try it, and like I made some swatches, so they are like kind of nicely showing up.
Yeah.
Some kind of change the color after they dried, so like blueberries they turn to more like bluish, and the other ones that I'm trying to see whether like vinegar or salt or like simmering them more will make the color more vibrant or not. But yeah.
Yeah. What was the top color?
The top? It's goji berries.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. But like I expected them to show because they are actually very pigmented. So I don't know whether like maybe I should try not putting the vinegar because I feel like once I put the vinegar in it or maybe I put too much. It kind of made it.
Or you could always try it without the vinegar and see.
Yeah. Because they are actually like very like orangey and yellowish and very like pigmented, and they even like dye the tongue when I eat them. But like here, they just like very like.
Yeah, I mean, how long were they on for? So
first was like. Didn't really time it that well, but approximately like 7 minutes or so.
Yeah, do you know? Because if all of mine, I end up boiling for about an hour. Yeah. So the longer you do it, the more it comes out. And honestly, the difference from like I would say around half an hour to about 45 minutes, and then from about 45 minutes to about an hour, it changes so much.
Okay.
So if you think,
maybe I should like.
Yeah, if you can keep it going and keep it going, it can change quite a lot. Ooh.
Okay.
Is that the bark?
Yeah, it's coming out much darker now, and like I went just like up around the pan where it's kind of like leaving residue.
Yeah. Perfect. That's looking really a bit stronger now. So have you got enough water to just keep it going?
Yeah, I think I might need to add a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think you only want a little bit of it, like you want it to condense down so much because for ink it lasts so long, doesn't it? You only want a tiny little bit of it. But yeah, if you can keep it going, I think that would be a really nice strong ink.
Ella,
Yeah.
do you ever worry whether berries and things are poisonous, or do you just
Yeah.
trust that the dishwasher's going to clean your pans and it'll be fine?
No, I always worry that things are poisonous. So,
And does it affect what you do?
sorry?
Do you just worry about it, or do you therefore not?
No, I Google things.
Okay.
So while I'm foraging, I always have my phone in my hand. And if
Yeah.
I'm unsure on anything, I Google it. So on my camera, if you like hold your camera down on, you know,
Yeah.
whilst you're taking a photo, it will come up with it on Google.
Oh.
And it's just a really easy way of tracking what you're foraging for.
So how do you mean it come? Okay, I'm interested in your tech now, not your foraging. So if you press your camera button down, Google automatically tells you what's
Yes,
what you're photographing.
if you hold your finger on the screen of your camera, you know, as if you were to take a photo. I mean, it does on mine. I don't have an iPhone or anything.
Either.
It will pop up with what the plant is, for instance. It doesn't always get it right, but it's quite a good tip. No.
No. So literally you as if you were going to take a photo and then you just hold your screen.
Yeah, so like as if you were focusing on the photo or something. Hold your finger down on the screen and then it will pop up with it on Google.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fiona's right. There are some plant
Yeah, there are some apps, aren't there? Yeah.
Yeah. I had one and I had like a free trial on one, which was really good. And then I realised that my camera did that anyway. So,
Yeah, mine doesn't seem to do that.
But if you have a little Google, there are some really good apps out there.
Yeah.
That's boiling up nicely. Yeah, so that's how I avoid picking scary poisonous things. In an ideal world, you'd have separate pans for natural inks, but I don't. So I just make sure that everything that I have is nice. Oh, thank you so much for that app. That's perfect. I don't know if that's the one that I had actually. That looks perfect.
Yeah, it's very good because like you just scan and it tells you. I think that you can even find information whether these like plants are poisonous or not. So I definitely like used it for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and also you don't want to be touching poisonous plants. Like that's a really big thing.
Yeah, especially like with berries, because
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who was doing the ivy? Who was that? Is she gone? Ah, Ishbel. I'm just wondering if you've got any luck. Mine's looking not very colourful. Nice. Oh, Tallulah, I'm hoping that will load in a second, but I can't see what you sent for the minute.
These are English ivy berries, which are poisonous.
Are they?
And my holly berries are poisonous too.
Sorry?
And my holly berries are poisonous too.
Are they? Holly berries?
Yeah.
So be careful with those then, Jane.
If I offer you a nice red drink soon, you'll know.
So are you gonna do them, or are you gonna be extra careful with the pans, or?
No, I'm going to bin them at the moment. If I got my oh, Tallulah. You should be all right in theory, Tallulah, if you put your pan in a dishwasher.
I think you'll, Tallulah, don't worry. It's, as long as you scrub your pan, don't worry too much, and just don't inhale over the pan, then you'll be absolutely fine. You're not going to eat them. Yeah, you'll be okay.
You can get little saucepans from Poundland or Deals, I don't know what it's called in England, for $1.50.
Yeah, that's what you need.
If you want to do holly berries and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, for example, if I'm kind of happy with how my pigments are like at the moment and like with colors that I'm getting, and because like I didn't add a lot of water, I just keep adding more, but I don't want to kind of dilute them too much.
Yeah.
So
So
can
you're
I just like
happy
let's
with
say
it.
sorry?
You're happy with your color. It's perfect as it is.
This one got like a bit more yellowish. This one kind of stays the same. This one is like nicely pink. So
Yeah.
I think like, maybe I can like now stop and then don't, because I don't want to keep adding more water and just like kind of lose the pigment.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it exactly as it is. So when you're ready and you think you've got it at the exact consistency that you want, this is when you would add your gum arabic. But of course, if you don't have any gum arabic,
I
that's
don't have
absolutely
yet
fine.
that plan to maybe, because you said we can add it like later. So
Yeah.
I'm planning on doing, yeah.
Don't worry. So if you want to add some in at the end, like whenever you have it, I would add maybe like a teaspoon worth, but it's entirely up to you. Or if it comes with a pipette, some people add like about 10 drops. I always go for about a teaspoon. So what you need is, have you got any scrap pieces of fabric that I asked you to collect?
I kind of have got some piece of fabric, or I have these like coffee filters, but they're like very small, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, so you need them a little bit.
It will work.
Yeah. So ideally, I've got scrap pieces of fabric about this big, and that's what you need roughly. And what you need to do is take your fabric off the fabric, get your
pot
off the hob, so they're absolutely boiling hot. And then what you need to do is strain them. So if you have a jug, I would do it over a jug. If you haven't, it's not the end of the world. But I would get your jug. And pop it down, and then pop your fabric on top.
Yeah.
And then very carefully, I'm not going to do it because mine isn't quite ready, but very carefully pour your ink and very slowly into your fabric.
Okay.
And with a spoon, you can really carefully sort of push the ink through the fabric. And then when you've got all of your ink in it, you can bundle it up. So you've got all of your ink in a ball, and then you squeeze it so all of your ink's going into the jar, and then you're keeping any residue in the fabric. Okay, so you're filtering your ink, so it should be really smooth. Okay, and then that's your pure ink in your jug here. Now, what I tend to do is, I don't know why, it's just for my own sort of satisfaction, I think. And then I always feel like the colour gets even richer. But I sort of wash the jug out just to make sure there's any, the pan out just to make sure there's no more residue in there. And then I pour the ink back in and just let it simmer for just a few minutes. And then that's it then done. And then I put that and pour it in whatever airtight container that you've got, whether it's a jar or whatever you have. Ink.
And like can I add, like, let's say I do all of this, the straining, and like I put it in the jar, and then can I add the gum arabic after I've done all of this and just
Absolutely. Yeah,
drop
yeah.
it? Is it like
You don't have to heat it up. You can just add it in cool, let's say in a week or so.
okay.
Okay, it will just bind it all together. It will thicken it up and just give it a really good shape as well.
And is it like some kind, because obviously sometimes you can make more ink, let's say like, I don't know, 200 milliliters or something, and sometimes just like tiny little bit. Is it some kind of like measurements, how much like per, let's say per 100 millimeters, how much of the drops of gum arabic should you add? Or is it just like...
The more ink that you have, the more gum arabic that you're going to use. So if you're just making a small amount, I mean, that we're probably making now that will probably fit like this, then you're only going to want to use something like a teaspoon's worth. If you were to make a lot more, then yeah, obviously add more in. But you know, I mean, the one that I sent you the link for, it comes like this.
Yeah.
And a teaspoon takes hardly anything out of that, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. So does that make sense to everyone else as well? What you need to do with the straining of your inks and everything? Perfect. And yeah, I would just use a fresh piece of fabric for every ink, and yeah, pretty straightforward. And hopefully, then you'd have some lovely colours to work with. Yay!
Migle, what was that bottom pink that you had?
Bottom pink was raspberries.
Raspberry. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you use and can you just show them again? So what was the top one? I can't.
This one was goji berries, so they look like these. Like I used the dried ones and I cut them up, and like the more I simmered, the more intense the color goes. Yeah. And like with blueberries, it kind of like stayed kind of the same. It like changed from like 5 to like 15 minutes, but then raspberries kind of stay the same. The only thing that I changed with goji berries, I added a little bit more vinegar. So I thought that maybe it would like make the color more intense, because I remember when like in Easter, like I tried to make like natural egg dyes. So I used like turmeric and stuff like that, and like or beetroot or red cabbage is actually really good to make like kind of this bluish color. So and when you add like vinegar, it makes it very nice.
Yeah, red cabbage is good. It does go blue. So that's color.
That's your red cabbage,
Yeah.
And what's your next one up, Ella?
That one there is sloe berries.
Berries are the berries are good for colour, aren't they?
Berries are so good. Yeah, it was that one I kept going for a while, but oh no, that's the thing of my red cabbage. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
But the change from 1 hour 5 minutes to 1 hour 10 minutes.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It made
and do you think that's just because your water was also more concentrated? You know, you didn't have very much water, so it became more concentrated anyway. If you'd added more water, it would have gone weaker, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And as soon as it got to that, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I just took it off.
And what's your top one?
And this one here is beetroot offcuts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I collected those from Bango, and just, you know, they were going in the bin. So I thought, well, I'll keep hold of those.
Yeah.
But they were candied beetroot, so they weren't pure beetroot. So they had white bits running through.
Okay. Yeah.
So I haven't done it with pure solid beetroot before. And this one here is nettles.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then these are the sloe berries.
Okay.
So as you can see, like it dries completely different sloe berries, because can you see that one there?
Oh wow, yeah.
And when it dries, it looks a lot more grey.
And you didn't add anything to the dried, you know, to the greyer ones. You didn't put anything in them.
Not compared to what this one is. No, it's exactly the same ink.
Yeah.
And this one, I just added a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of vinegar. So
So it only really becomes ink because you're adding the gum arabic, doesn't it? So when I think about fabrics that I've dyed,
yeah,
you know, I've dyed fabrics in red cabbage and that sort of thing. You know, in a very similar way.
Yeah, but then again, the water that you're using to dye the fabrics could, you know, technically be classed as ink.
Well, that's, yeah, that's what I mean. So it's
Yeah.
like just a dye solution, isn't it? That yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know, I think to create some lovely artworks onto paper, this is such a good way to
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
to sort of take it further, and it can be carried into so many different courses and so many different pieces of work and things. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And really good fun to do as well.
Absolutely.
And I just think at the minute it's so much more important to be doing things like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, how are yours coming on?
So this is my wood.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's looking good.
These are my red leaves. Precisely.
There, isn't there?
This is my fern.
Oh no, Jane, I can't see that.
No, because there isn't anything to see, actually.
Okay.
And these are my gorse flowers, which you can just, they've just gone slightly yellowy.
So is there a yellow tinge to them then?
Well, you know, with a good stretch, if you knew they're gorse flowers and you knew they were yellow, you'd say there was a yellow tinge.
I love it.
It's a slight, I think it's more of a browny colour actually rather than a yellowy colour, but you know, but very, very pale. And they've all been going for almost an hour now.
Yeah.
So my wood's okay, but
perfect. I know the bark that I was doing has turned out really well actually.
Has it?
Yeah, it's going all right. Oh, I've definitely labelled it the wrong thing. It's not ivy, it's that. But can you see?
Oh, that's a nice colour, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just going to keep it going, I think. Keep it going. Who had the yellow flowers? Who had someone? You, Tallulah? No.
And somebody had camellias as well. Has anybody else done the camellias, the pinky flowers?
Yeah, I had those.
And?
They're rubbish. They're not very good at all. Yeah, I'll try and do. I'll see if it's worked at all, but it's nearly been on for an hour now, though, Jane. So
yeah, I've just because I'm bored with my fern, which isn't doing anything. I've stuck a rusty tin lid and a rusty nail in with the fern.
Ah, there you go. Oh, Jane, it has actually got something now. The camellias. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah.
You really can't actually. It's that one. You can't.
Oh, okay. I was looking at your ivy on top of it and thinking,
no, that's what you're
right.
I've labelled it wrong.
Even my rusty iron hasn't done anything to my fern.
Oh.
But it's only been in for 10 minutes, the iron.
Yeah. We'll see. Iron should do something.
Iron should make it go black, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
So Ella,
Yes.
that's what I did for my first year project.
With Irene.
So those are all fabric samples. I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah.
And all vegetable dyes.
Lovely.
So I was able to get a good selection there. But they've added things like mordants with tannic acid and those sort of things. So it makes definitely makes a difference there.
Yeah, definitely. No, it really does. Which you can do. I mean, there are recipes where you can add like soda ash to these and things like that. But it's getting hold of things like that from your home.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yes, it's not foraging then, is it?
No,
yeah.
Yes. So it's nice to keep these as sort of natural and
absolutely.
You know, which is lovely. And just to see, because there's so many pigments in the world, you just don't really, you sort of take it for granted, and you're so sort of used to seeing things, and I think it's just really lovely to sort of open your eyes and see what's around you. But it's, although, you know, at the university there are so many different resources there available at your fingertips, and you've got to make use of what's there while we can. But while we're not there, it's great to sort of make use.
Something a bit different.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've been doing this while we have been able to access the university as well. But I just think it's just a really lovely thing to just look at the world differently. And actually see, you know, the world can sort of grow flowers again and things like that. But so you can if you just take a few of them to make a lovely ink, then why not? It's great. Instead of buying something that could harm the world.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah. Then why not?
Yeah. Well, the iron is definitely going grayer with my fern.
Oh, that's good. When you've because obviously the workshop finishes at past, but when you've all finished, would you mind emailing me over a photograph of all of your finished sort of like worksheets that you've been working on? Would you mind doing that? Just then I can actually see your final outcomes, because I know some of you might not be finished in this workshop. Just so that I can see how you've all done. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
So much. It's nice to see what you're all up to.
I have a question for the ones that's done like natural, like dyeing fabrics with natural inks. So how do you like preserve the color after like you wash it? Is there some kind of like trick style, like vinegar or something? Because I know sometimes you can add some things into the washing machine so that you wouldn't really like, you would preserve the color. Is there some kind of like tricks to that?
If you're using it on fabric.
Yeah. So for example, if you dye like fabrics with like natural inks, because I would assume they would be a bit harder to keep in them, or not.
Yeah, they are much harder to keep. They do fade out eventually. So you just want to wash them on a cold wash, and I would dry them inside out. So dry your clothes inside out so they don't get the direct sun. But yes, they will. You know, they will fade much more quickly than a chemical dye.
Yeah. Hey, thank you.
Oops.
Oh, I've just burnt the bottom of my leaves.
Oh, I've just very nearly done the same with those camellias.
However, it has given me some colour to them.
So the camellias, Jane, are painting on pink. But they're drying grey.
Sorry?
They're painting on pink, but they're drying grey.
Okay. Oh yeah, burnt red leaves give more of a colour than non-burnt red leaves.
Oops. Okay, that's my camellia ink.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's come out. So it's pink there, but then it dries black.
Yeah, it doesn't dry very pink. It dries grey. Uh, 3:10. Oopsie. Let's put that into there. How are you doing? Is anyone straining their inks yet, or are you all still bubbling away?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. That looks good. Beth, did you finish? I saw one of yours finished. Nice one. Which one was that?
It's the one that you also use that pretty much doesn't turn out any colour.
The flowers.
Yeah, it's slightly up here. Mine's more of like a bluey grey.
That's quite dark.
It only shows up on watercolour paper. It wasn't showing up on the other one, so I just used some watercolour paper. The underneath is tea because
I'm using now some good paper, and it's still like a little bit, you know, not liking it.
What's your yellowy one, Beth?
tea, because that one wasn't working, and I wanted the other one. I wanted something that I knew wasn't poisonous because I only have one saucepan.
So what was it that you used? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Old tea.
Tea.
I had the tea bags there.
Yeah, nice. Perfect. That worked well.
So how long does this keep for?
So, oops. Sorry, just throwing some leaves around. It should last as long as you like. A couple of mine did get like a little layer of mold on it after a couple of months. But some of them haven't had anything like that. So the thing is, even with the mold, I just got rid of it and I've still been able to use it.
Okay.
So yeah, just keep an eye on them. See if you want to use the gum Arabic, that might help it as well, keep a little bit longer. And yeah, hopefully you'll be able to use them. What course are you on, Beth?
Photography.
Nice. So are you wanting to use this just for your own sort of thing, or are you wanting to use it in with your work?
No, just my own sort of thing. And
Yeah.
I do like painting. I'm just not very good at it, so I didn't choose it as a career.
Oh, fair enough. It's all nice to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Good stuff. That was it looks a bit murky, but it comes out quite nice and yellow, to be honest.
What's that one?
So I mixed the ivy leaves with a little bit of fern. I don't think you'll be able to see it if I show you it, unfortunately. Whoa. Right. And this was my purple berries as well.
That's nice.
But I think again it's drying quite grey, but that's how it came out when I just painted it on. But it's drying more like this. Oh, it does. That looks more brown here, but it's looking more grey. We shall see. So it's just the bark. Oh, they're looking good.
Yeah, the cabbage, it's comes out really nice and gluey. The one was kind of a really brown.
Which one was that one?
So wait, that's the middle one is the like Cavolo Nero,
Oh yeah.
and this one is red cabbage, and this one is the ivy berries.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm quite pleased with them.
Well done. Nice. No, they're looking really good. Perfect. So I've only got my bark to go now. I'm just going to sort of get rid of the excess water, I think, and then that's all of mine left. How many of you guys got left to go?
I'm just straining out my gorse at the moment.
Perfect. Brilliant. So we've only got a couple of minutes left now. But how, you're pretty happy with what you've sort of accomplished, and yeah, nice. Do you think this is something you'll come back to?
Definitely. I wanted to do it for a while, but I'd never got around to it, so it's good to like have a reason to do it. It was
Yeah. No, that's good. I don't know. Do you find it quite sort of like relaxing and therapeutic, or have you found it quite stressful?
Yeah.
I found it
Like,
relaxing
I
and
totally forgot what I was doing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch any of that.
Oh, sorry.
Go on. Fiona, what were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I found it relaxing until I realised my berries were poisonous, but then I was like, oh, but, yeah.
Just don't eat them. Just make sure you wash your hands, okay, and that you'll be okay. I think it is. I think it's nice, sort of, to be, connecting back, making things from our surroundings again. I think it's really lovely. But I'm glad you've all enjoyed it anyway. That makes me happy. Amazing. Perfect. Well, Toulouse, they look great. I'm in a workshop at the moment.
This is my bark one, but I added red onion skin in the end because I did a series of sort of lighter ones, but actually it just put variations of brown stuff. I like
Yeah, that looks brilliant. So what was it, the bark one, but then you added in red onion skin?
Yeah.
Nice. That's really cool. So this is what I mean. I think, like, once you start sort of mixing and having a real play with it, I think you can get really into it. I don't know, I find it really exciting. I think it's really cool. No, that's brilliant. Okay. Jane, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether I should put some more water into that little dried up mess there. You probably can't see it, it's my red leaves, or whether I'm just going to squeeze them out and see what colour they come.
Is there anything left in it at all, or?
Yeah, there's a dribble at the bottom.
Yeah.
Which will be fine. I just don't,
Oh, amazing.
I mean, it hasn't really come out in any great colour or anything, so it's not. I'm not devastated.
It's always nice to see what's going on. Ishbel, are you okay? Have you found this all good?
So that's my gorse.
Nice. That looks really good and strong.
It looks good and strong, but when it paints out, it's really pale.
Yeah. But sometimes that can be the best colour in your colour palette.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the wood finished.
Yeah, fantastic.
So my red leaves were, my burnt red leaves were beginning to get some colour.
Brilliant.
Not much. And then I'm just busy. So this is what my fern with iron goes. Whoops.
Amazing.
Definitely gone a bit quite grey, which is nice. So it's going to be, and I think it'll be, I'm just doing it even more. So I think it'll go even blacker.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Just keep it going. You can literally just keep these going for as long as you want.
Yeah, it's just that's gone even blacker.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep that one going at the moment.
No, that's awesome. Oh, no worries, Beth. Well, look, let's call it a day here then, because it's 3:30 now. Mine's quite powerful. Yeah, perfect. Oh, I'm glad that's worked well for you, Ishbel. Amazing. Well, thank you all so much, because I've really enjoyed that. It's really nice to do this, even though we can't all be together. It's a shame, but well done for foraging for everything. I wish we could have all done that together. But you've all done amazingly for doing it. So well done to you guys. I hope the video wasn't too sort of laborious watching it, but hopefully it all made sense and everything. So well done. You've come this far. So oh, you're welcome. And I just really hope you can carry this on. But yeah, if you could send photos to me in my email, that'd be amazing of just what you've accomplished, because it's so hard to see what you're all sort of up to and how you've developed this through screen through Teams. So if you could do that, that would be really great, if that's all right. Yeah, if you could just email that over to me later today, that'd be great. All right, amazing. All right, brilliant. Well, have a lovely rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you all at some point soon, and look after yourselves.
And you.
All right, amazing.
Bye.
Bye.